got students in my office now. Students. Undergrads. I don't know. From the looks of it, they want to sell me a Brooks Brothers franchise.
What do you notice about the reaction from these two? The president of Harvard just threw a dig at them before this meeting even got started. Regardless of how hard a meeting starts, whether it's in an interview, a meeting with your boss, or a petition with an authority, like in this example, you have an opportunity to get what you want. The biggest obstacle to success is not actually a hostile audience, but the assumptions you brought with you. This scene from The Social Network shows us exactly how these assumptions can derail you. And at the end, we'll explore what to do differently for a higher chance of success.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Cameron Winklevoss, and this is my brother, Ty.
Whenever you meet someone for the first time, there are a ton of little social cues that let people know who you are, a reason why first impressions are so important. Cameron projects his voice clearly, uses eye contact, and stands at attention, though it would have been better if his hands were visible. Hidden hands can trigger a subconscious red flag, making you look less transparent or like you have something to hide, though in this meeting, this is a small thing.
And you're here because...
The Harvard president, like many people who value their time, get right to the point and asks a fill-in-the-blank style question. He also doesn't invite them to sit down, though they do anyway. This question, the lack of invite, and the dig that he made about how they're dressed are 3 indicators this is not a meeting he wants to have.
Either of you can answer.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you were reading the letter.
I've read the letter.
In advance of this meeting, the twins sent a letter detailing their petition to the college, asking for intervention in the matter of a stolen idea. The idea in question will become Facebook.
Well, we came up with an idea for a website called Harvard Connection. We've since changed the name to Connect You. And Mark Zuckerberg stole that idea.
I understand. And I'm asking what you want me to do about it.
Okay, so the president just said he read the letter, reiterating the problem is a waste of time. Additionally, adding in the name change clarification is an erroneous detail that adds no value. Cameron is trading time for clarity, and it's a bad deal. The president is not being conversationally generous here. In fact, his indifference and interruption with a hand motion could be considered rude. He also averts his eyes, demonstrating his disinterest. His behavior and questions in less than a minute of this meeting all signal the same thing. What is my part in this, and why should I care? One assumption you can count on, even without the direct ask for brevity, is that people in high positions of prestige, value their time, especially during the workday, and especially during unexpected meetings that don't directly serve their goals or values. More on this in a bit.
In the Harvard Student Handbook, which is distributed to each freshman, under the heading Standards of Conduct in the Harvard Community, it says the college expects all students...
Cameron drones on for a while, quoting the handbook the whole time. He's failing to answer why the president should care, which is why the president interrupts him to say,
Anne?
Yes, sir.
Punch me in the face. Go ahead.
Cameron continues, though less confidently, to complete the quote.
You memorize that instead of doing what?
With the advantage of pausing and assessing each moment, we can clearly see how bad this meeting is going for the twins.
Well, what my brother and I came here today to ask of you, respectfully,
Sir.
of course, is it's against university rules to steal from another student, plain and simple.
Finally, we get to the point, but this only identifies what they're after and not why he should care. That was why Cameron quoted the Harvard Handbook. He assumed that the president of Harvard's values is the same as the handbook, but herein lies the most common mistake people make. This assumption is a bet, it's an interpretation, and the conclusion the twins came to just so happens to align with their interests, with the goal to compel the president to take action on their behalf. If all this sounds weak, it's because it is.
You've spoken to your housemaster.
Yes, sir. And the housemaster made a recommendation to the ad board, but the ad board won't see us.
Have you tried dealing with the other student directly?
Mr. Zuckerberg hasn't been responding to any of our emails or phone calls for the last 2 weeks.
The president is attempting a brush off, and this is exactly what it looks like. He's identifying all other options they could explore that are not him. He has no reason to care about this, so ending this conversation, regardless of the outcome for the twins, solves the problem for him.
He doesn't answer when we knock on his door at Kirkland, and the closest I've come to dealing with him face to face is when I saw him on the quad and chased him through Harvard Square.
Chased him?
I saw him, and I know he saw me. I went after him, and then he disappeared.
The president's response to chased him is a little exaggerated by design. On its own, it's a misunderstanding, but just one more indicator of aggressive sounding or odd behavior makes the whole meeting dismissible on the grounds of students being erratic. At every turn, the president is looking for this meeting to end.
I don't see this as a university issue.
Of course this is a university issue. There's a code of ethics and an honor code, and he violated them
You
both.
enter into a code of ethics with the university, not with each other.
The assumption that the twins had falls apart right here. The president does not agree with their presentation, and the twins have never been further from accomplishing the goal of university intervention than they are right now.
I'm sorry, President Summers, but what you just said makes no sense to me at all.
Ty is letting his frustration show. He's using a conversational technique we've talked about before called elicitation. Though it can be used politely and calmly, Ty is using it aggressively, implying that the president has the obligation to clarify what makes no sense. But the president doesn't exactly feel compelled.
I'm devastated by that.
What my brother means is, if Mark Zuckerberg walked into our dorm room and stole our computer, that would be a university
I
issue.
really don't know. This office doesn't handle petty larceny.
This conversation is devolving into an argument. The point was to establish a partnership, or at least a shared goal. The only thing they accomplished is a pattern of making a claim and for the president to dismiss or reject that claim.
This isn't petty larceny. This idea is potentially worth millions of dollars.
Millions?
Yes.
You might just be letting your imaginations run away with you.
This is based on a story of Facebook, which we know is an idea not worth millions, but billions. But at this moment, there's no proof or evidence of that, and this idea sits among many, with the same grand claims, most of which didn't end up anywhere.
I honestly don't think you're in any position to make that call.
I was the U.S. Treasury Secretary. I'm in some position to make that call.
Being direct can be a good way to progress this meeting, but diminishing a man you want something from is not a great way to compel them to action. Earlier, we mentioned why it's important to focus on the other person's goals and values. The president's former position as the U.S. Treasury Secretary would have been a much better place to start than with the student handbook. But before we get to that, the twins have more assumptions they want to bet on.
Letting our imaginations run away with us is exactly what we were told to do in your freshman
Well,
address.
then I would suggest that you let your imaginations run away with you on a new project.
You would.
People who find themselves here had a shot, but they didn't plan for success as much as they hoped for it.
When Harvard's inventing something. Harvard undergraduates believe that inventing a job is better than finding a job. So I'll suggest again that the two of you come up with a new project.
The president is being dismissive on a general level now. The switch from their issues to everyone at Harvard makes the problem sound like it lives in an ecosystem of ideas and is easily replaceable.
I'm sorry, sir, but that's not the point.
Please, arrive at the point.
Even with poor assumptions, terse execution, and generally blunderous communication, they still in this moment have an opportunity to turn it around, to compel meaning and personal value to a man they hope to join in their crusade as they see it against thievery and villainy. A really great benefit to verbal communication is that it leaves room for error and provides the opportunity to turn it around with big picture thinking.
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
And you're saying that I don't.
Of course I'm not saying that, sir. I'm saying that.
Interestingly enough, this is the right message in the wrong packaging, and that's related to the president's time as the Treasury Secretary, but it doesn't land because it's wrapped in an insult.
Really?
Sir,
And how did they get this appointment?
Colleagues of their father.
The president observes this slight, but is not emotionally moved by it. He's not insecure or feels socially pressured, and does not hold the twins' opinion in particularly high regard. This is the first time they're all meeting after all. That said, he doesn't have to tolerate this.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Winklevoss, since you're on the subject of right and wrong. This action, this meeting, the two of you being here, is wrong.
Even if this clip was silent, you'd know from his gestures, pointing, tapping his hand on the table. These are direct and definitive, drawing a line in this social interaction.
It's not worthy of Harvard. It's not what Harvard saw in you. You don't get special treatment.
we never asked. Just start another project?
We have now devolved to judgment. The president is declaring he does not agree or approve with their approach and will do nothing to help them. The twins are baffled this matter is going unaddressed. They assumed ahead of this meeting they would gain an ally. Instead, opposition.
If
Like we're making a diorama for a
if you
science
have
fair?
a problem with that, Mr.
We
Winklevoss,
never asked for special
the
treatment.
courts are always at your disposal.
This meeting is just now disagreement. Everybody's talking over each other. It's not going anywhere. No one is yelling. There is still some semblance of decorum, which is good. However, they failed to accomplish their goal.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Or you could take the Harvard student handbook and Hi. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Right, so what could they have done differently? There are 3 changes to their approach that would have made a world of difference. Their mistake is that they assumed incorrectly what this man cared about. They thought that the passage in the student handbook was both in their interest and held an obligation the president of Harvard needed to enforce, which, saying it like that, sounds ridiculous. In this and most circumstances, you're more likely to succeed when you appeal to the man. Knowing he's the former Treasury Secretary, it took me all of 5 minutes to look up his major dealings in that position. While in office, one of his efforts was to combat identity theft and e-commerce fraud. I'm sure some of you are already making the connection. By explaining what social media will or could be, or that there's a new frontier of e-commerce, or even that people will willingly offer up their personal details for all to see, exposing them to identity identity theft. All of these open up a discussion to areas the president is at least familiar with and at most cares about. Exploring the problem this way would allow the president to consider how his own values fit into the problem. This doesn't guarantee anything, but it is certainly more compelling than a passage from the student handbook. The second change is about getting to the point. Despite being twins, each of them present their own barriers with their approach. A combination of succinct and polite is more often the best approach in most situations, especially where time is not on your side. Finally, and most importantly, they did not present a solution. Maybe they just didn't get to it, but asking for someone who you've never met to understand the problem, come up with the specific solution, and then take action himself is way too much, even if it aligns with their goals and values. But if you bring the solution as to what the appropriate next steps are, it makes saying yes so much easier. This scene presents a cautionary tale about how assumptions can derail your meeting before it even happens. Assumptions can help you prepare. Just make sure there is evidence to back up your theory, and it isn't just what's in your interest. Focusing on your audience and coming up with a solution that is presented succinctly and politely doesn't guarantee success, but it will get you further and succeed more often than assuming that getting the meeting means getting a win. Thanks for watching.